what you're going to need for this one is like, I've got a wooden panel here, like a piece of MDF that I've cut off, or you can use a canvas if you like. Obviously it's much cheaper to use the MDF because you can buy a big sheet of it and you can just cut it down into any size you want, and this piece here would probably work out about, I don't know, probably under £1 or something like that. So you get a lot more for your money if you don't mind painting them onto wooden panels. It's pretty lightweight as well, so if you wanted to mount it to the wall, you probably wouldn't even need to screw through it. You could probably just get some strong double-sided tape and just stick it all around the edges here, and it should just press straight onto a wall. So what I've done is I've cut this down, I've like sanded down the edges. It's not perfect, but I'm not too bothered. You can also see some of the wood grains coming through here as well, so if that's going to bother you, then use a smoother wood like MDF, or just go straight onto canvas like I said. Also, I gave it a couple of coats of acrylic water-based primer. So I like using the acrylic one because it's like, well, like I said, it's water-based, so it's better for your breathing, it's better for the environment. It also dries super quick and it's easier to wash out of your brushes and rollers, whereas like an oil-based one, you would need to use solvents to get it out of your brushes and stuff, so bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to go ahead and do my sketch. I've got like a Prismacolor pencil here. You can use a normal pencil if you want, it's just what I had handy. I've also got a baby wipe, so you can use one of these or like a paint wipe or something. If you make a mistake, you can just wipe it straight off. I find with a rubber it might like smudge about a bit, so I use a baby wipe. So I've got this sketch here that I've done on my iPad earlier, just says the word graph. I'm going to copy this onto here. If you want it to come out exactly how it is on your iPad or your piece of paper or whatever, there is a way of transferring it onto there. It's not a technique I've ever used before, but I have seen people do it, and you basically get a sheet of paper, you've got your sketch on it, and then you colour the back in. You get like a pencil and you colour the whole of the back of the piece of paper in, so it's got loads of lead on it, and then you flip it back over and then tape it onto your surface so it doesn't move, and then get like a ballpoint pen and you just trace over your letters. And what this does is it pushes the lead from behind onto your surface, so then you've got like a perfect transfer of your sketch there. So you could use that technique if you want. I'm not sure what that technique is called, but I'm sure if you searched up on the internet like sketch transfer techniques or something, you'll probably come across it. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just stick this on time lapse and just do my sketch quickly, and then we'll move on to the next step after that. So that's the sketch part all done. I've also added in a little character as well, just quickly to just make it a bit more interesting. Now I'm going to come on with my paint pens. If you go on the IGTV and look at a couple of weeks ago when I did the spray cans, I'll show you on there how to blend these paint pens together and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use like a blending technique of like blue and purple and put some little bits and bobs inside there as well, and then we're going to outline it in black after. Right, so I'm just going to do myself a line about the halfway mark here, just all the way through the whole piece. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to like blend it together in a bit anyway, so you can sort of sort it out as you go along, but just roughly I'm going to mark out where the halfway mark is right there. So I'm going to be doing a blend of like 2 shades of purple and 2 shades of blue. So I'm going to have the 2 lighter shades in the middle fading out to the darker shades. So I'm going to start with the lighter shade of purple and then come on with the darker shade, blend those 2 together, and then do the same with the blues, lighter shade here and then the darker shade down here, blend those together, and then finally I'm going to blend the purple and the blue together as well. one thing you can do when you're going in between two letters, so there's a bit that overlaps here with the G and the R, you can just colour it all in if you think you're going to know where the line is when it comes to the outline. But if you don't want to lose it, then just leave like a tiny gap in between when you colour this bit in, and then I know that my outline goes up here and comes through here, rather than just losing it. So just a recap on how I blend these. If you haven't seen the other video where I did the spray can, I've got this shade of purple laid down, then I'm coming on with the next shade, and the blending point is here. So I get a bit of that, and while it's still wet, I'm going to get the lighter shade and just go up into it and then just drag it back downwards. So then you get like a smoother blend of the two colours rather than just a solid edge. Right, so I've done the fill, I've put all my little bits in, and I've also done the outline and the 3D as well. So once that is all done, you want to wait for it to properly dry, and then the next step will be to grab some masking tape, and what we're going to do is just tape completely over the top of this whole thing, because we're going to paint the background now, and I'm going to do it with spray paint. So we want to tape completely over the top of it, And as you can see through the masking tape here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this blade and we're just going to cut around the whole outside so that it's masked off perfectly. So I'm going to do that over the whole lot, and then we'll go outside and spray paint the background. Right, so I've got that all taped up now. Ideally you want to use like a low tack masking tape just in case it would pull some of the paint off underneath. It shouldn't do, but I'd rather just be safe and use a low tack. I mean, sometimes low tack will even pull it off as well, but that should be on there pretty solid now because like we use the primer and everything, so it should be fine. I just buy this one, it's called Bracket. I'll buy it off of Amazon. You get about 6 rolls in a pack and it's about 12 quid, something like that. But you can use any low tack masking tape really, whatever you've got at the hardware store, and you can even use normal masking tape if you want, but yeah, like I said, I'd rather be safe, and this is just what I use all the time anyway. Also, just another pointer, I'm doing this on a wooden panel obviously, like I said earlier. If you're doing this on a canvas, it is possible, but make sure the blade is like super sharp, and you've just got to be so gentle that you only cut through the tape and not through the canvas as well. It is possible, I've done it before with different paintings on canvases and stuff, but it takes much longer because you have to be so careful that you don't cut through the canvas, that you're only cutting through that first layer of tape and that's it. So I'm going to crack on and cut this all out now, and then we'll go outside and spray a cool background. Right, so I've got this all completely cut out now. Another tip for you as well is to keep these nice and sharp. As you can see on here, they've got like these sort of groove things in them. You can get like a spanner or a pair of pliers or something, and you can snap them off, and then it just gets to the sharper bit there. And that will make it a lot easier to cut it. You won't have to press as hard, especially if you're cutting it out on a canvas. Like I said, you can get away with pressing a bit harder on wood, but you still don't want to press too hard. Right, so now I'm just going to peel off this outside bit. Technically it should just come off perfectly like that, but you might find there's some bits where you haven't quite cut it properly or the cuts don't join up. So don't go and just rip it all off really fast, just take your time, just go slowly, and then you can get it all even and it won't pull off the bits that aren't meant to come off. Ideally what you want is a little bit of black left around the edge like this, because that means when we spray back over it in a minute, it's going to leave a nice clean line when we de-tape this part. There's probably some parts where I haven't taped up quite to the black bit, so it's going to leave a bit of white around the edge, but it's not the end of the world because we can always come on later with the black pen and just touch up any bits that need touching up again. So I've got this all sprayed up now. You saw what I did, literally just a blend of purples. I flicked some blue paint on it, and then I come on after with this white just to make it look like there's some light coming from behind the piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and de-tape this now. I'm just going to use my knife to get it off, and let's see what this looks like. Right, so here's how it's looking. It's pretty good, like none of the paint really peeled off or anything. I've got a couple of little touch-ups to do and stuff, and I'm also going to do some black coming out of this spray can and forming a little pattern behind it, and then we'll be near enough done. Right, so there you have it guys, that's my one completely finished. I think it looks pretty sick, loving the colours. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and that it's inspired you to go away and create something of your own, and I'll see you guys in the next video.